X-Men #1 is a weak book. I think the writing in it was weak.
And it's not as good.
Yeah.
No, no, it's not as good as 94 was.
Right.
But, it's still historically significant enough that it should be that, But, I think they should be equally, probably.
Probably.
But, Giant Size is the second full appearance of Wolverine.
True. Unless you're going to count Foom number,
full appearance.
What the hell ever else?
Full appearance. It was the first appearance of Storm, first Nightcrawler, first Colossus.
Right.
I don't
know.
That, I don't know.
And we can debate.
It's hard to say.
You can literally debate the Hulk 180, 181 thing forever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you're always going to be wrong and,
no matter what.
And right at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, traders. We are back.
Oh, we're
after a bit of a hiatus. Yeah,
we're on.
Clicked it on a few seconds ago.
Oh God, you didn't hear what I said about. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It does. It always matters.
Doesn't matter.
Hey, traders. So if you are one of those people that spent endless hours searching the internet for Roger Corman's Fantastic Four,
yeah,
so you can bootleg it on your AOL account,
yeah,
this is probably the show for you.
Oh, good.
Everything's late. Nobody dies. We're on episode number 69.
No, we're not.
We are. We made it.
Plucky 69.
And this is our June episode.
This is our 69 Pride episode.
69 Pride.
Well, damn.
And it's been a couple weeks, so we're just gonna catch up with Greg, see what's been going on.
Yeah, I've been pricing books, not sleeping.
You look like you got a bit of work to do back there.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. It's the big signing is next Saturday, the 22nd.
Yeah. So
I got a lot of things to do before then. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
This episode brought to you by Pain Relief. Pain Relief. See if it's for you. Ask your doctor.
Excedrin.
No, not that. No, let's see. God, what's been going on, man? We've got the big signing next week. We got another signing in July that I haven't announced yet. We got another signing in August that I haven't announced yet. Everybody out there, don't forget either next Saturday, the 20th anniversary, 20% off store-wide.
Everything. So the handful of pops, 20% off.
Handful of pops, 20% off.
The statues, 20% off.
Statues, 20% off.
Can't beat that.
What
about quarter comic books?
What about them? 20% off.
That's less than a quarter.
That is less than a quarter. You can get
a whole comic book for less than a quarter.
You can. You can also get a partial comic book for less than a quarter. And twice, if you let me rip it in half for you.
There you go.
There you go. Right? We got a paper cutter. It's cool. Oh my God. Yeah. Let's see. What else is going on? Comic wise, I'm overwhelmed by new X-Men titles already. That's not good. They haven't even come out yet. Totally overwhelmed by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle titles.
Wow.
I think there's 10 of them up there right now.
See, and I'm so out of touch with anything mainstream. I read my Batman and Daredevil.
That's very underground. Yeah. They're going to be big one day. No, I get what you're saying. It's I don't know. There's a lot of stuff happening. It's God, there's so many. I don't know. There's just so many things. Matt Page. Hey, I just saw that on there. Matt Page.
There you go.
Guy, what did this? He's done a great book called Yesterday's Tomorrow, which is it's like a ashcan sized mini book. He's been sitting on until Steamboat Willie went into public domain. And Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse, whatever you want to call him, goes back in time to kill baby Hitler. and it is fantastic. We have Future Day Saints, takes place in 2999. This is we can't say a lot about it at the moment, but this is gonna be one to watch. You may want to come and talk to him next week if he can talk about it.
I will have to.
Yeah. I'm not going to get in trouble by saying anything about it now because he just told me today. But you're going to want to get your hands on this thing. This is the original printing of it, self-published stuff. Yeah, you're gonna want to check that out.
I can't get this to do what I wanted. I was going to share your anniversary signing.
Oh, I was going to say, you can't get Pornhub here. You
Oh,
shouldn't be looking at it while
I'm
we're doing this
pretty
anyway.
sure I can.
No.
So,
anyway,
a quick rundown of the list. This is
it's a hell of a list.
This is no joke. This is a mini Comic-Con.
It is.
Going to be in the store.
Yep.
Teenie Howard.
Mm-hmm.
And who do we know? How do we know Teenie?
Oh God, how do we not? X-Men, Harley Quinn. She's currently on Harley Quinn and Catwoman.
Right.
Writer on those. She did the part of the Batman Catwoman crossover. She did the this is X-Men Special Edition. Excalibur. God, so much. Like every time I go through a box, I'm like, oh God, she did this. I better pull this.
Yeah.
Skeptics for Black Mask was one of her early books.
A lot of good stuff out there.
Very good.
From Teenie.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Rope, of course, local favorite. We love Adrian.
We got
great
some.
Guy.
We're able to find some totally out of print. You can't find this stuff, but we found it. Pink Panther, Casper, stuff like that he's done. Mm-hmm.
And he's a great guy. He will sign anything and chat with you. And
yeah. He's an awesome
met him
guy.
a couple times.
Great guy.
Adrian Morales.
Mm-hmm. We promised Utopia.
Oh, okay.
Which is absolutely awesome.
Right.
Great guy.
Phil CV.
I don't know what he's done.
Real popular.
Oh yeah, my Daredevil back tattoo. That's right. That's what he drew.
Oh, he did that?
Yeah, he actually did that. Yeah.
Very nice.
But yeah, and he and Teenie just did the X-Men Wedding Special, which is the Marvel Voices Pride this month.
Okay.
Yeah, which came out last week, and we're almost out of it. Gee, imagine that.
Yeah. Matt Page, that you were just talking about. Future Day Saints.
Yep.
Gonna have to check that one out.
Yep.
Chris Porter.
Christy.
Oh, Christy.
Porter. Yeah. She's done some stuff with Phil. They just did a story in the Dark Horse Headless Horseman special.
Nice.
That they did for Halloween. She is awesome. Yeah.
Okay, Doug Wagner, our very own Utah boy, Doug Wagner.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and Plastic 2 came out this week.
Came out this week, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to get mine signed.
More Plasticer, I think, is what they call it.
Plasticist is going to be the next one.
Yes.
Some very interesting body horror type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also did Marvel Zombies. Zombies. Did a story in there. And Doug is a proud Native American and did a Native American hero.
I thought he was from Georgia.
I don't know. I'm just going based on what Doug told me. Interesting conversation every time.
Yeah, Doug's a great guy.
We got Mike Lovins, creator of one of my favorites, We Go Anywhere.
And also probably one of the funniest guys in Superbad.
That's Mick Lovins.
Oh, God. I am so sorry, Mike.
Anyway. Bill Galvin.
Uh-huh.
Matt Armstrong.
Yes, he just did a Usagi Yojimbo cover and a Black Panther variant. Matt is a really, really nice guy, really great guy. He's good friends with Adrian.
Right on.
Yeah.
Sam Thornley.
Yes, Sam. He is awesome. I think he's 9 years old. He is Tony's kid. Who writes for Comic-Con.com. Okay. And he's going to be up there by the counter, and he's going to do like 3D printing, custom painted stuff. He's got like some Star Wars and some superhero stuff, and he's a great kid.
And you had him in here on it was
for the fundraiser.
The fundraiser
for Tim, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And Erica Schultz.
Yes, who also is somebody's bet every time you turn around, you're finding more that she's done. She did the Hallow's Eve special. She did the Daredevil Gang War, wrote that. Worked on Destiny New York for Black Mask. Oh my God, 27 Club. Like, she's done so much stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, she is great.
Just going to be packing them in. I don't know how you're going to get them all in here with all these books.
Well, it's just through the front door.
Yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna some of that's gonna be moved over there. Table go up a little bit. Tables over this way. Tables over that way. It's gonna be literally like a little Comic-Con, like a small artist alley through here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. And again, everything in stores 20% off. So come on in, say hi.
Hi.
Say hi to some local creators. And
hi.
Some not so local creators.
Yeah.
Probably going to be the biggest signing, at least in our area, for the past few years, at least.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So, lots of fun. Hey, Pride.
It is June, and
that is right.
It is no secret that out of the two of us here, I'm probably a little more conservative. And
really?
Yeah. I've been told.
That's weird.
And I think we're in a situation where you have to do the obligatory, at least acknowledge Pride Month and everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting to me when we get into conversations online with people about comic books, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm so sick of having to pander every June," and
you don't have to do anything.
Well, that's true in itself. But comic books, long history with the community, the queer community.
Yeah.
Like, long history. Like, this goes all the way back to Wonder Woman, and I'm sure before. Like, if you can't find queer-friendly stuff in 1940s Wonder Woman, you're not looking.
Yeah, you ain't looking.
It's there.
Yeah.
Like, all kinds of kink going on with that stuff.
Oh yeah, the whole bondage thing.
Yeah.
And Mr. Doctor Lie Detector. What the hell was his name? What was his name? William Marston. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Created the lie
detector, and oddly enough, the lasso of truth. What's that about, man? And the lasso of truth, where you put the lasso around somebody, force them to tell them the truth. And he was super into bondage. So I don't know if there's a connection. I don't know.
Yeah.
But whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, seriously, there's so much there, and it's the same thing that I tell everybody when they come in. They're like, "Oh, I don't like what they've done to the Marvel characters. I don't like how they just force diversity." It's like, first off, they're not really forcing diversity. Okay, they're putting diversity in. There's only 3 or 4 occasions that I can think of where diversity may be forced into a book, and it never works anyway. So I don't know what the problem is.
Well, and I think that's a great gauge of that too.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's a different gauge.
I'm sorry about that.
So back in the 90s when they introduced an Alpha Flight,
North Star,
came out. I don't feel. I mean, there was a lot of people raging against that it was forced.
But it wasn't.
I don't feel it was forced.
It wasn't forced at all. And it's like, oh my God, there's one gay character at Marvel. What will we ever do?
Well, and if you were reading the book, which not a lot of people were. I mean, Alpha Flight's never been a tier book, but if you were reading the book, it really wasn't surprising.
No.
And at least it wasn't surprising to me.
No, not at all. They always wrote him. I don't know if this is the correct phrase, the way to put it, but they always wrote him coded. And it's, or the correct usage, I know it's the correct phrase, but they always wrote him like that.
Right.
It's like he was fairly effeminate, and he's Canadian anyway. Who cares? But yeah, that was not. you had a couple people that were like, "Oh my god," and "Oh my god," but the majority of the people were like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. Who cares? Whatever. It's just
And it's funny to me that it seems the people that get upset about it, and this goes to all aspects, whether you're talking about gender identity or race or anything else. The people that get the most upset are the people that weren't reading the books to begin with.
Yeah, they're not reading them.
Like if you're not reading Alpha Flight, if you're not reading Nightwing, and you just hear in the media, that Nightwing's now gay, then
no, he's not.
He's bi.
Tim Drake is.
Tim Drake is.
You don't think the Dick is?
Oh no, he hasn't come out, but I mean, we all think he is, of course.
Like, come on now.
He's ass-tastic.
Come on now.
No, of course he is, man. Yeah, absolutely. My God, man. But as long as it makes sense in the story, who cares?
Right.
It doesn't matter at all. I mean, if you look back, I had a conversation with a customer about this the other day. If you look back at the earlier Tim Drake stories, that very conservative, very not LGBTQ friendly Chuck Dixon was writing.
Right.
There was something hidden in there that maybe Chuck Dixon didn't want to know
Yeah.
or admit about himself, I mean, he was always with his best friend. He was, Stephanie Brown, spoiler, was trying to date him. They went on a couple of dates, but he'd rather hang out with his friend, or he'd rather, go on adventures on the rooftops, and is always calling off the dates. And it's like, huh? What are you trying to say, Chuck? He was always kind of written like that. And, he was always written as a very conflicted character and an evolving character. And, it just doesn't, I don't understand, I do get this sometimes when people come in now and they're like, oh, I don't know what they've done to this. I don't know. I don't like what they did to that. And I'm like, well, then don't read it.
Right.
Then there's still Captain America, Manly Man America. Yeah. There's, then there's still a version of the Punisher. There's still Daredevil, who bangs everybody sees and then they die. Man, there's still Batman. There's still Superman. No, wait, never mind. But there's a lot of, there's a lot of straight characters that are just Manly Man. Luke Cage. Then read your straight characters. Who cares, man?
Right.
Don't read it if you don't like it. I mean, you get the same complaints and the situations and everything, with like horror movies. And people are like, oh my God, man, no, it's absolutely terrible. I can't believe that they put this violence on screen. I would never want to see that. Then don't.
Right.
Man, don't. Man. And also, perhaps educate yourself on what you're looking at, what you're watching, what you're reading. And if you don't like how it's described or what it looks like, then don't do it. We went to see, Bella, my daughter, and I went to see In a Violent Nature. I've never seen this actually happen. The people walked out after an extremely violent scene.
Really?
Very gory scene. It was very over the top stuff, man. It was nuts. But, and I think, I feel that, people are going to love this movie or hate this movie. And I can see both sides. I really liked it a lot. It's basically Friday the 13th from the slasher's point of view. So instead of the killer being, the background character that just kind of shows up and, hey, kick, the other characters, the kill fodder characters, the meat,
right?
They're the background characters you can hardly see. You follow him around for the whole thing.
So kind of like a Maniac in New York type.
Yeah, kind of, but more walking. There's a lot of walking. There's a lot of walking. So be warned, and then I can understand if people get bored. I get it. Whatever. We don't all have to like the same thing. But the situation is, and if you don't want to see that kind of violence, why the hell are you going into a horror movie that was released unrated? What are you doing, man? And if you don't want to read Jane Foster's Thor, then I got an idea. Don't. Thor will be back.
And it's not like you don't have 50 years of
and that's the other thing.
Content to catch up on.
Right, yeah. That's the other thing. And if you're like, oh, I don't, and people thought the same thing when they did Secret Empire. And they're like, oh my God, man, I can't believe this. There's 2 Jewish people that created Captain America. Now they're making him a Nazi. Now they're doing this. And then he's part of Hydra and he's blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, so first, no, it's all Captain America up here. You can still read. Okay. Secondly, that's not going to stick. That's not going to stick, man. Marvel has 37 different ways to reset reality.
Right.
And it's always going to happen, and it'll always go back. So I don't know. I just don't understand the outrage with this stuff, and I think most of it is reactionary because they haven't read it and they don't know what that story is. I still get people to this day that come in and they're mad that DC made Superman gay.
When did that happen?
Exactly, it didn't. It's his son, Superboy, that's bi.
Okay.
It's from Super Sons. It never happened, and but they and they see somebody on YouTube and they're like, "Well, Superman's not gay. He doesn't like America anymore." And it's like, no, they added the truth, justice, and American way much later. That was not there from the beginning.
Oh yeah, that was a World War II.
That was a World War II propaganda thing.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't. You need to be a little educate yourself just a touch.
Which honestly, if you think of. So they did add that in World War II. They added Captain America punching Nazis in World War II.
Yep.
I mean, he was kind of created for World War II. But a lot of these characters, the Shield and the Phantom, were much more patriotic during World War II.
Yeah.
So why did they do that? They did that because that's the time they were living in. That's a reflection of the time.
Yeah.
So
good point.
Now we've got Superboy is by. We've got, Tim Drake is out. We've got all these characters that are representative of where our culture is right now.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just they don't have 50 years behind them at this point.
True. Yeah, you're right.
It's hardly fair for us to judge them based on where they're at now. Because 50 years from now, people are going to be upset that, Batman's got 6 heads. They're like, Batman never had 6 heads. Well, everybody on the street has 6 heads now.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't care.
After the imminent nuclear destruction in the next couple of years, we're all going to have 6 heads.
Everybody's going to be, remember way back when Tim Drake was gay? Well, now he's got 4 arms and he's walking around.
Yeah. There you
go. That's not accurate.
That's not accurate at all. No, I agree. It is a reflection.
So it is very much a reflection of the time.
What were they saying there?
Aggressively relaxing. You're totally right. I remember when people were making a big deal about all the different eras of all the characters came out at once, which makes me remember the first appearance upset.
Yeah, people, if they did the X-Men 94 / Giant Size X-Men one thing that we were talking about before, and if they did that today, people would lose their minds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why does there have to be a Jewish woman and a black woman and a Russian guy and a German guy they would lose their minds, man.
Okay, so this is weird because I never thought of it in those terms.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a bunch of New Mutants.
Right.
I never really realized they completely changed the ethnic makeup of the X-Men, the power dynamic between men and women, all of it.
Yes.
With one book.
Yeah.
That never dawned on me
Really?
until just now. I never
Yeah.
thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was all about, you know, multicultural,
Right.
multi-religious. You know, Storm was,
She's from
you know,
Africa.
she's from Africa. They were like worshiping her as a goddess.
Kurt was from Russia.
Germany. Yeah, Nightcrawler's Germany.
Eastern Bloc. Yeah.
Nightcrawler's German. Colossus is Russian.
Yeah.
Wolverine's Canadian. Kitty Pryde is Jewish. You know, Banshee is Irish. They didn't really bring him. He was only in a couple of books before that. You know, you got Banshee, who was Irish. You got all these different people coming together in this super diverse team. Lost damn minds if that happened right now, man.
That's interesting. I can't believe I've never picked up on that before.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. And the power dynamic that changed. You know,
because now you got Storm as a leader, a black woman, in a leadership role
in 1974.
Wow.
Or 5, I guess. Yeah.
That's crazy. I never thought of that before.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, it was, you start looking at things like that. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. All right. It's not, comics haven't changed. People's view on comics, I think, have changed. Yeah. And people's view on society have changed.
Well, I think, and it's hard when our pop culture doesn't reflect the comfort that we've always held on to.
Yeah. You know, it's fair. You know, people are afraid of it. They're like, oh no, oh my God, man, where's my stuff? Is my stuff going to go?
Yeah.
No, your stuff has always been there. It always will be there.
Yeah. Because we still have Peter Parker, even though Miles is probably a better Spider-Man. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Or the '80s Avengers being ran by Wasp, and the writers making a big deal about Cap having a hard time accepting it. And I mean, I think that's a great reflection on culture shock.
Yeah.
Because Cap was very much representative of that, you know, the greatest generation and that mindset where the men are in charge and the men are men.
Good point.
And so that juxtaposition with a female leader, and we saw that as Clint took over the West Coast Avengers, and you know Mockingbird was in this leadership role.
Yeah,
and
if you remember, you know, about that same time in the Avengers, when they brought Submariner in, you know, if you remember, they were all picketing.
Oh yeah,
he was different than them. He was a mutant. He was an Atlantean. They didn't want him in there. That's not our Avengers. And they were picketing out in front of the mansion. You know, I mean, there's even that. There's a cover with him, like looking down like that, and all the picketers back there holding signs and everything.
Yeah, I remember that one.
You know, Namor, go home, and blah blah blah. You know, we don't want no stinking fish man. You know, yeah. I mean, you know, yeah. They didn't want to fish there. Where was Kanye when we needed him? That was a weird joke, but but yeah, that's a very good point too with the Avengers. And that stuff's always changed like that, you know, and a lot of it, you know, they would wait to see if it was successful. Obviously, Teen Titans kind of did the same thing, you know.
Right.
And it was they would wait a little bit, see if it was successful, and then go on with their version of it, or you know, their ideas. And that's, I mean, I think that's the thing though, is I don't read Ms. Marvel. You know, I just don't care for the character that much. But I'm glad she's here. It's an important character for there to be.
Right.
You know, Peter Parker, that's my Spider-Man. That's the one I grew up with. You know, but it's okay that Miles is there. Miles is good. That's not my Spider-Man. But it's good that there, you know, is a half, you know, Latino, half black Spider-Man that is there. And it's a big deal. It's a big thing. And because, you know, you have no idea how many kids come in here that, like black kids come in, Latino kids come in, and they're looking for Miles.
Right.
They love Miles, and they pick
Well,
up Miles.
and my opinion on that is I think that Miles, that those movies made such an impact, not because they were great movies, and they are great movies, but that's not why they made the impact. They made the impact because that character did the same thing for this generation, these younger kids that Peter Parker did for us.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't, I know there's a lot of shop owners and retailers, that are like, oh, there's diversity out there. It's not what I loved. And I'm moving on from a lot of traditional mainstream superhero stuff too. But it's not because of that. It's because there's too damn much of a lot of it, and I'm just kind of slowly moving away from that stuff, But I don't understand from a retailer's perspective why you would want everything to stay the same and have the same old customers come in for the duration of your shop being open. Because if that's what you have, that duration of your shop being open is not going to be that long, because you and me are going to die off. What about the younger kids, the younger queer kids, the younger kids of color, just different generations and different outlooks? I want them to come in, and I want this to keep going. If it's just, middle-aged straight white guys coming in, bitching and moaning about everything and how Star Wars sucks now, if that's all it's going to be, then this whole industry's dead. It's gone.
Yeah.
It'll be gone in the next 5 years.
I think it's sad that the corporations, Marvel's really doing themselves a disservice with the forced equity part of it. And I do feel that there's a fair amount of forced equity and especially Marvel, but DC's got some of it going on too. And to some extent, even Image is jumping into that a bit. But there's so many great diverse characters that they could pull from.
Yeah.
That when they try forcing it, it's not necessarily.
I still think that's a small portion of it, but it is.
It's a very small portion.
But it is a disservice because that's the one that they make the biggest deal out of.
Right.
That's one they'll send a press release to CNN about.
Right. And a great example of what I feel is forced is Peach Momoko on the X-Men stuff, the Demon Days stuff. Okay. Peach Momoko was out of her lane on those books.
Oh, yeah.
And it showed.
Yes.
And they were just doing it because they wanted to put an Asian creator up front. And she was the name du jour. If they would have put her on Ghost Rider.
I haven't thought about that, but that's actually, you're right.
She would have slayed Ghost Rider. Any of the Midnight Suns, Blade, she would have killed. But
no.
And I understand that she's a fan of the X-Men, and who the hell isn't? But that doesn't mean you're right to the right person to write that book.
Yeah, exactly. And that, I think so. I mean, but I always say, and this is a different situation. This is not saying, put the Asian person on the Asian book. That's not what I'm saying with this. What I am saying is I think she could do an amazing horror manga series.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
That,
that's her lane.
And you know what? And if Marvel wants to get some of that money that all these other guys are getting, start a manga imprint. Yeah. Start a manga imprint, man. And don't make it manga X-Men and manga Spider-Man and manga Avengers like DC's doing, because that's not selling that great.
Right.
It's the first couple sold well because it was a novelty. But don't do that. Give, if you've got this fantastic Japanese creator that wants to do something like that, make a manga imprint and put, Marvel manga. That's all you got to put on there. Marvel manga. And you let her do the horror stuff. You let her do, the adventure stuff or whatever the hell she wants to do, man. That would be a perfect fit for her style, her talents, And I don't think she's an amazing writer from what I've read.
No.
And I think that
I mean, she's about mid. She's
Mid-tier.
about mid-tier. Yeah.
mid-tier.
Because there are certainly worse writers out there.
Oh god, yeah. But if you
ChatGPT.
did you just say Tom King? Anyway, who I swear to God is chess. I swear to God he is AI because he's never heard a human being speak. But you're right. You get her to co-plot something like that. Or maybe write the story, maybe not the dialogue, but possibly the story. Okay. And I don't, I don't know. Honestly, this is dumb white guy here, but I don't know how much of that is lost in translation. And that is a possibility.
Yeah.
That's a very valid possibility. That perhaps she'll write this and then it gets translated. And it's like, well, that doesn't really work. Well, gee, I wonder why. Maybe get better translation, maybe get something. I don't know. But I was not impressed with the Demon Day stuff. And when she does too much art, if she's doing 40 covers a month and a monthly book, she can't do that because all her detail suffers. There's no detail in the interiors. Nothing.
I always thought that she would do just an amazing job on an Alien project.
She probably would. Yeah. There's monsters and
Because she really shines in that environment.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
What she'd be? Aliens would be good. She'd be awesome.
A
Predator.
Predator.
Predator would be super cool. That'd be really cool. Or, God, man, she would be, man, where she'd be great? They're not doing any of them anymore, but Peach Momoko would be amazing on a Nightmare on Elm Street book.
Yeah.
Because it's that weird, uncomfortable fantasy watercolor sort of, look, more realistic stuff, and if they got somebody with a more down-to-earth realistic art style to do the awake scenes and then got Peach Momoko to do the nightmare scenes,
that would be
that
killer.
would be incredible. That would be so
pretty
cool.
amazing. Yeah.
Because she has that kind of dreamlike style anyhow. So, to see what she would do with like a Nightmare on Elm Street dreamscape would be unbelievable.
You get somebody like a Tony Fleet or Doug Wagner to write it. That'd be out of the park.
Oh, Doug would love. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Doug writing that.
Doug would kill it.
Yeah. Right.
For sure.
I think Doug's a better writer, but just saying. I like Tony's stuff, but speaking of Tony Fleeks, okay, here we go. How do you feel about Feral being ongoing?
It'd be interesting to see where they could take it. I think it's got far more potential than Stray Dogs.
Yeah.
Or something like that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to see it stretched out for 50 issues, though.
Yeah, because that's killing a lot of books.
You're going to run out of steam on it.
Yeah. And I, I've had conversations, like personal conversations with Tony about writing and stuff. And I understand the need to have something. Like, he's got bills to pay. So I understand the need.
Mm-hmm.
I hope, and I think that this will play out, but I would hope that he would have the forethought enough to be like, okay, I'm going to tap out now when it gets to that point. I think there's a lot more to it a lot more potential to it than an 8-issue series. I think the stories are there, but yeah, it's not something that 3 years down the road you're still going to be reading.
No, I can see it going maybe 20 issues. Yeah, and having enough steam for that. Otherwise, I'm just afraid it is going to turn into a Walking Dead situation. Where it's like,
I was trying to avoid the comparison to Walking Dead, but right. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. It could be. It's a similar concept, sort of. But with an original spin on it. Where Walking Dead it's a zombie book. That's all. It's just a zombie book. And I think Walking Dead probably should have stopped around issue 70, 75. I think 75 would have been a really, really good arc for that. And because after that, he just started repeating himself.
Right.
You know, it's like one person gets killed. Okay, let's move on. New place to live. Oh, there's a bad guy. One person gets killed. Okay, let's move on. New place to live. Okay, there's another bad guy. And it's just repetitive after that, I think. You know, and it got good at the end again, I think. But it took a long rest in between those, the really enjoyable time and the really enjoyable time. That was like a Rip Van Winkle kind of sleep there, man. You know, and it's so I don't know. I don't want to see that happen to this, you know, because I think it's a more original idea, and I think it's more fun and a more emotional idea than Walking Dead. I just don't want to see it just go too long, you know.
Yeah, I think Tony, I think that whole team is incredibly talented. I really do. Tone is amazing. All of them. Trish is fantastic, and I want to see them successful, and I want them to be able to support themselves and put out great stories.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I don't want Feral to end and then the next one be, you know, a vampire book with actual bats. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's my idea. No, I know what you're saying.
I want them to be able to create, aside from the very cool idea that they had with Stray Dogs or that they had with Feral. I want them to do something out of that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I can see like the next idea being like, you know, lab mice that get smart and escape, and they're after them, and then there's lab mice versus people, and then the next one is just, you know, vampire bats,
and I mean that's extremely easy to do when you have an artist like Trish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she excels at that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and she's brilliant at it.
Yeah, she's great.
And I'm sure that she could branch out into other styles and do other things. And
but I mean, there's you know, there are a few people working right now that only do one style.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people bring up Scotty Young. Oh, it's all the same. It's always been the same. No, it hasn't. His style was very different a long time ago. Extremely dark and very.
I was just looking at that today.
You know,
like he was a lot closer to what you see from
like Sienkiewicz. He was very Sienkiewicz-like.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Just without the cocaine. I mean, I'm assuming that Scotty doesn't use cocaine. No,
I was going to say Clayton Crane, but yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I see that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are, I don't know. People settle in to one thing where they're making money.
Yeah,
you know, we've seen that with Scotty Young. We've seen that with
Clayton Crane.
You know, we've seen that.
Tyler Kirk. Like, we can go all day long.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, they changed their styles up a little bit. I mean, we see it with Greg Capullo. You know, it didn't used to look like that at all until he worked for McFarlane.
Right.
So yeah, but anyhow,
I blame Todd for all of it. That single style, ride it until you're in the grave type. Thing.
Yeah. You know, but that's an image thing.
Okay, and everybody knows I love Todd McFarlane, but he is a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
He does one thing. He does it extremely well, and it's beautiful, but that's what he does.
Yeah.
A lot of these artists can branch out and do other things, and I think they get pigeonholed into whatever style broke.
And they put themselves there.
Yeah.
You know,
I see that a lot, especially I've noticed it a lot with Tyler Kirkham's art.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's brilliant. Like, his work is fantastic, but all he's doing is those
they're doing homage cover,
battle damage covers,
battle damage, homage covers.
Gleason, like, you know, what the hell? The Spider-Man, what was it, 44 or whatever it was?
Whatever, yeah.
It was a cool cover. It was a great concept, but you're better than that.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know. I have problems with Gleason's art. It's a little too cartoony, but you know. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
That's what I don't in my comic.
Yeah, see, I don't love that.
That's my thing.
But yeah, I think a lot of that, a lot of that stems from the DC Marvel house style of the 60s and 70s,
Right.
And there were exceptions. There was Ditko, there was Kirby, there was Neil Adams, and then Neil's stuff almost became the house style. They're all like, draw like that, draw like that. That's good, and they kind of changed their house style a little bit, but then they started doing that with the image stuff. They would bring them on in their own little studios. Sylvester would bring people on and say, draw like me. McFarlane would bring people on and say, draw like me. They'd all do that. Eric Larson for a long time was just a McFarlane clone that drew bigger hair on Mary Jane. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And I liked his stuff back then probably a little better than I like his stuff now, but it's okay, whatever.
Okay.
That's fine. Anyway, there we go.
Anyway, diversity, good. Keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give us crappy stories. Just trying to make them diverse.
Yeah,
of course.
Give us good stories. Give us natural progression into what those stories
Absolutely.
should be. And you know what? After that, if they write good stories and that diversity or whatever you want to call it, okay, inclusion, whatever, if that makes its way into a good story in a good way, you're gold.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were doing in the 60s and 70s and 80s.
I mean, if it's written well, I'd read a Tucker Carlson book.
I would not. It would just be about what a whore the green M&M is.
Yeah. Well,
it would just be her walking around.
she's got to live her truth.
Yeah.
So, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up.
There you go.
Make sure that you pop in next weekend, the 22nd.
Yes.
A lot of great artists here. And you know what? It's not going to cost you anything to pop in and say hi. If you want something signed from one of these artists, reach out and we will get you taken care of. Greg can facilitate for CGC, the whole thing.
I can't do that.
You can't do that?
No,
I don't mean witness signature, but you can do.
Oh, send them in. Yeah.
You don't have to have a signature witness anymore.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. Yeah.
CGC, we can make sure you get taken care of any way you want. So if you want that coveted Doug Wagner on a new plastic, that's going to be your time. Just let me know and we'll get you taken care of.
There you go.
All right. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and ding the little bell. Ding the bell. The bell.
Ding.
And that way you'll be notified anytime we drop a new show.
Slinky dinky.
All right. See you later, traders.